McLaren could emerge as the dominant Formula 1 team in Azerbaijan as it prepares to introduce significant upgrades to the MCL60 at Baku City's circuit. McLaren plans to launch a significantly improved version of the MCL60 for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix to move up the Formula 1 midfield order. Not only McLaren, but other teams also have many huge upgrades up their sleeve. Let's find out which one will have the most impact. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. The team is well aware that they will be unable to catch Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin, and, most likely, Ferrari. McLaren, on the other hand, wants to be in the fight for the best of the rest for the second year in a row. Lando Norris and rookie Oscar Piastri have had a difficult start to their season. This season's regulations impacting McLaren the most of any team on the grid. As a result, the MCL60 was introduced on the grid in a much weaker form than the team had intended. The Baku upgrades will include significant changes to the floor and side pods. The improvements in Baku should affect an area of the car that it has been clear that, I think from the presentation of the car, we weren't entirely happy with in terms of development, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella said. This upgrade comes after a personnel change, which saw James Key leave McLaren. The team has a new trio in charge of making further improvements to the car, and more major changes are expected for the MCL60 as the season approaches the summer break. Any upgrades will be the result of the newly appointed technical trio's vision. As the season progresses, the team will strive to maintain the momentum gained in Melbourne. Both Norris and Piastri finished in the points, totaling 12 for McLaren, propelling them to 5th place in the standings. This could be the tipping point as they look to make significant strides after Baku. The team aims to get closer to Alpine and becomes more competitive in the 5th place fight. Even though McLaren is currently 5th, Alpine has a better car and, as things stand, would easily overtake McLaren. Stella will likely be looking to solidify the team's current position and possibly even leapfrog Ferrari, which is struggling this season. After a rocky start to the 2023 season, this upgrade would help McLaren get back on track. From there, they will continue to progress and develop the MCL60 in order to compete for podium finishes. Although McLaren is encouraged by the wind tunnel data, Stella, promoted to team principal over the winter following Andreas Seidel's departure to Sauber, believes the update would not significantly impact the team's prospects. When it comes to the Baku upgrade, we do see the numbers, which are promising, he told motorsport.com. It will hopefully allow us to move up to the 5th place from 6th. It's still not enough to achieve our season goal of becoming a top 4 car. This will necessitate the Baku upgrade, as well as another couple of upgrades following Baku, on which we are currently working. With McLaren announcing changes to their technical structure on Thursday, with former Ferrari man David Sanchez replacing James Key as technical director, Stella admitted that aerodynamic efficiency is the most pressing concern McLaren must address at this stage. In terms of the car's weaknesses, we talk about aerodynamic efficiency, he explained. This does not necessarily imply that the car is draggy. The ratio of downforce to drag is simply not as high as we would like. That is the main flaw. Despite the team's current slump, McLaren had an encouraging pace performance in Saudi Arabia, with Oscar Piastri reaching Q3 for the first time. On the other hand, Stella revealed that the Jeddah's circuit's characteristic and its emphasis on mechanical grip over aerodynamic load flattered the MCL60. In a way, the fact that the tarmac is very grippy is associated with the fact that we are more competitive, he explained. You rely less on aerodynamic load, you have more grip coming from the tyres, so these conditions kind of hide the underlying aerodynamic deficit a little bit. McLaren's woes come as Red Bull has had a near-perfect start to the 2023 season, with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez finishing 1-2 in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Stella is full of praise for Red Bull, but with other teams, including Mercedes and Ferrari, reportedly moving towards a similar car concept to the dominant RB19, he expects the gap to the reigning Constructors Champions to close. For me, it's simply the result of a team that has a knowledge advantage and translates that knowledge into performance solutions, he told Motorsport Total. The sophistication is visible when you look at the car. I believe they have earned their success. It is now up to us to improve and challenge them. I expect them to provide not only moral but also technical inspiration to other teams. There are no more excuses for other teams to claim that we don't know what to do. The season is long, and there is time to turn that information into developments, so I expect the group to move closer to Red Bull by the end of the season. Stiller believes McLaren can learn from Aston Martin, which finished on the podium in the first 2 races of 2023 after finishing 7th in the Constructors standings the previous season. Aside from Red Bull, the gaps have shrunk in some ways, so if you jump, you can compete for good points. I believe Aston Martin has identified and is pursuing the right concepts for the car. This demonstrates once more that it is possible. We need to put in a lot of effort to develop the car. The background shows that the development is positive and lively. We need to keep going in this direction and capitalize on it. Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are set to receive significant upgrades before the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in order to compete with Red Bull and Ferrari. Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin hinted that the team was working on adding base execution to the vehicle ahead of the next race. InsideSports.in provides Formula 1 live updates. Shovlin stated ahead of the race, Baku may present some similar challenges. However, we are working on areas to improve the ride and to be able to run the car closer to its optimal window. But we're well aware that we need to make it work on a wider range of circuits, besides improving the car's base performance. So, these are all things that we will be working on in the coming week in preparation for Baku, but also in the longer term because there will be other challenging tracks that will come up. But all of those projects are being worked on diligently because the team and drivers are desperate to return to the front, he added. He also stated that the team anticipates making the vehicle work on a broader range of circuits after competing in some road races this season. Shovlin stated that the team struggled with ride issues in Monaco, which affected the driver's confidence in conveying speed. He added that the difficulties meant it was more difficult to run the vehicle as near ideal as they had done at the Spanish Grand Prix, where the group saw an increase in performance. George Russell, meanwhile, is 4th in the drivers' standings with 84 points. Lewis Hamilton, his teammate, is in 6th place with 50 points, 75 points behind his arch-rival Max Verstappen. Bottas anticipates that the upgraded spec car will be faster on Saturday, and he added that his best lap in FP2 was ruined by a lockup, costing him time that would have put him near the top 10. I don't think it's the true picture of where we are, he told Autosport. We don't have all of the best bits on the car yet. Also, I was 4 tenths ahead on my final lap, but then I had a lockup and lost all time. So even with that, I would have been much closer, plus any changes we can make for tomorrow. As a result, it will be extremely close. We made many setup changes today, and it was getting much better by the end. My understanding is that they are here, but we don't have too many of them, he said of the new parts. As a result, there is always a risk in these street circuits. That, I believe, will give us a small step forward, but we also need to find something more. I'm confident we can do it, and I'm confident we can still improve the setup and everything. It's a tricky track, but once you get the setup right, you can find much lap time. After arriving in Monaco with high expectations, the team underperformed and Bottas says lessons were learned. Monaco as a street track definitely wasn't easy for our car, he admits. However, I believe we learned a lot from the setup. So, if we can get everything right for tomorrow, we can compete for a Q3 position. Thank you for stopping by to watch. Please subscribe to the channel and post your video recommendations in the comments area if you want us to do more videos like this.